The Secret of the Forgotten Library. In the small town of Everdale, there was an old library that no one visited. It stood at the edge of the town, covered in ivy, with dusty windows and a wooden door that creaked in the wind. Many people said it was haunted, but 12-year-old Oliver didn't believe in ghosts. Oliver loved books more than anything. He spent hours in the town's main library, reading about adventures, pirates, and lost cities. But one day, he finished all the interesting books, and the librarian, Mrs. Willow, smiled at him and said, "Maybe it's time for you to visit the forgotten library." Oliver's eyes widened. "But nobody goes there," he said. Mrs. Willow just winked. "Maybe you'll find something special." A mysterious discovery. That evening, as the sun set, Oliver walked toward the forgotten library. The door was heavy, but he pushed it open. Inside, the air smelled like old paper and wood. Bookshelves stretched from floor to ceiling, covered in dust. It was silent, too silent. As he walked between the shelves, something caught his eye. A book was glowing faintly on a table in the center of the room. Curious, he picked it up and wiped the dust off the cover. The title read, "The Book of Lost Stories." Oliver carefully opened it. The pages were blank. How strange, he thought. But then, as he touched one of the pages, words began to appear. "Welcome, Oliver. The adventure begins now." His heart raced. How did the book know his name? Suddenly, the room started to change. The shelves moved, the walls stretched, and a golden door appeared in front of him. The book whispered, "Step through the door to uncover the greatest story ever told. A journey through time." Without thinking, Oliver stepped through the door, and everything went dark. When he opened his eyes, he was no longer in the library. He stood in a vast desert, with pyramids in the distance. A man wearing ancient Egyptian clothes ran toward him. "You must help us," the man said. "The pharaoh's golden scroll has been stolen." Oliver couldn't believe it. Did the book send me back in time? He followed the man to the pharaoh's palace, where guards were searching everywhere. "Without the golden scroll, history will be lost," the pharaoh said. Oliver knew he had to help. He used his knowledge from books to find clues. He noticed footprints leading behind a statue. Carefully, he pushed the statue, and a hidden door opened. Inside, a shadowy figure held the golden scroll. It was a thief. Oliver quickly grabbed a torch and held it up. "Give it back," he said firmly. The thief, surprised, dropped the scroll and ran away. The pharaoh smiled and said, "You are brave, young one. History is safe because of you." Back to the library. As soon as Oliver touched the scroll, a bright light surrounded him. The next moment, he was back in the forgotten library. The Book of Lost Stories was now filled with words, telling the story of his adventure. He smiled. The library wasn't haunted, it was magical. And it had chosen him for a reason. From that day on, Oliver visited the forgotten library often. Each time, a new adventure awaited him. He traveled to medieval castles, sailed with explorers, and even walked on the moon, all through the magic of the book. The power of stories. Years later, Oliver became a famous writer. He told the world about the forgotten library, inspiring children everywhere to believe in the magic of books. And if you ever visit Everdale, you might just find the forgotten library waiting for you. Who knows? Maybe you will be the next great adventurer. Moral: stories have the power to take us on incredible adventures. Never stop reading, dreaming, and believing in magic.